Bon Odori Taiko subcommittee of the Buddhist Churches of America's Music Committee is honored to present this very timely webinar on songs and dances of resilience, gratitude, joy, and hope. And we hope that you enjoy and can really relate to the stories and the songs that we'll be presenting to you today. We're hoping to have these songs support and strengthen engagement in these trying times. And our presenters, PJ Hirabayashi, Tiffany Tamaribuchi, and Nobuko Miyamoto have provided many songs to the world in the past over 50 years. To the world that show resilience and joy and express gratitude and give us a lot of hope. And so I'd like to thank them for being here and for agreeing to present, and thank everybody here for participating. Also, we want to let you know that we'll be recording this. We are recording this right now as we speak. And so if you'd like to not have your image on, you can turn your camera off, and your face will not be recorded. Okay? Okay. So thank you very much. And Reverend Ron, would you be able to open us with an opening gasho, please?
Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sensei. Our first presenter for today is PJ Hirabayashi. And PJ is, as you all know, is the founder of Taiko Peace, and with her husband Roy were recipients of the 2011 National Heritage Fellowship awarded by the National Endowment for the Arts, the government's highest honor in the folk and traditional arts. PJ is a board member of ACTA, the Alliance for Cultural and Traditional Arts, the president of Kodo Art Sphere America, called CASA, and co-founder of Creatives for Compassionate Communities. And as we all know, she's also the artistic director emerita and charter member of the San Jose Taiko, the third Taiko group to form in the United States. Today, we have the opportunity to learn about her signature composition, EJNK, a celebration of immigrant life, expressed in Taiko drumming, dancing, and voice that continues to be performed around the world. And several obon that I've attended, we've danced EJNK. So that's really exciting to see it all the time. Okay, so PJ.
Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful and what an honor to be here, presented by the Music Committee, BCA, to even regard EJNK in the Bon Odori menu of dances. It is out of my imagination when I first created this piece for San Jose Taiko's performance stage. And so I will talk about the development of EJNK, but first I'd like to have Tyler, could you put on the video? It's called Ripples. And they are, it's a collage of where EJNK has been danced.
背中伸ばせば夕日が赤く仲間を染めるよ。ええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかはいあそれあそれええじゃないかはいあそれそれよいしょええじゃないかはいあそれあそれええじゃないかはいあそれそれよいしょえいじゃないかよ煙吐き出しうなりを上げてあそらええじゃないかええじゃないかレールロードええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかスチームエンジンええじゃないか西から東に伸びゆく線路に今日も積み込み運んでゆくよ明日へ向かってはええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかはいあそれあそれええじゃないかはいあそれそれよいしょええじゃないかはいあそれあそれええじゃないかはいあそれそれよいしょえいじゃないかよ太鼓叩けば浮き立つ心あそらええじゃないかええじゃないかどんどんええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないか照れつくてんてんええじゃないか踊るアホと言われたってええじゃないかこれがやめられよかやめられましょうか踊ろよ歌おうよええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないかどんどんええじゃないかええじゃないかええじゃないか照れつくてんてんええじゃないか踊るアホと言われたってええじゃないかこれがやめられよかやめられましょうか一緒に行こうよそれそれよいしょ
Hey, PJ, you're muted.
I am muted. It's such a wonderful. I know Roy just came in to tell me I'm muted. EJNK has really been something I could not imagine. It was written specifically to be a taiko piece for San Jose Taiko's repertoire. I felt that back in 1994 that I felt that we really needed to make taiko less taiko-centric, just to play on the drum. I said all indigenous cultures have their song, they have their drums, they have their dance that are melded together. And in 1994, I imagine seeing a procession going down San Jose, Japantown, with a big drum in tow and people just dancing and going down the street. That's what I imagined. And I heard a rhythm pattern. And from that, it was like, okay, this needs a dance. And that didn't come right away. I felt it was a procession first. for San Jose Taiko. Second, I had to blend a dance that I really felt needed to be dedicated to the first immigrants from Japan, like my grandma, my grandpa. And then from there, it's really wonderful to be here with Nobuko, because she has been an inspiration of like EJNK to be here in the world. What you heard in the very beginning was a song that she was a part of creating with Chris Ijima. It was that song, along with many other songs that they created, that was our voice that was coming into the world. And I remember going to see their performance, and at the very end of this very lively community performance of hearing all their songs that reflected who I am as an Asian American, there was such energy that really bolstered everybody up onto their feet. And as I understand now, Nobuko said it was her brother that got everybody to jump to their feet and actually go into tankobushi. And we were just rocking tankobushi with a song that Chris was just really smacking on his guitar. And you look around the room and there's just so much joy. There was just so much connection. And there was just the energy at that time really entered my cellular memory. And it was that moment in time that I said, this is community. This is the vibration of the people. And it was decades later that I wanted to tap into that energy. And that's why EJNK was created for San Jose Taiko. And then I had an opportunity to work with Nobuko again with another sister, Yoko Fujimoto, a veteran member of kaDON from Japan. And we had been in a project called the Triangle Project, Journey of the Dandelion, from 2000 until, I went through 2007 off and on, and even later. However, it was that moment that when we came together, I asked Yoko, could you write lyrics for this dance for EJNK? And what was so heartwarming is that she went to San Jose Japanese American Museum. And when she first went there, she learned about the Japanese American experience, about the incarceration for the first time, and tearfully saying, I wish all Japanese knew about this history, about Japanese here in America. And so at that moment, I said, could you write a song to accompany this dance? And then that was also part of the debut of our Triangle Project, that we also incorporated the song and dance for our Triangle Project. But it wasn't until 2004 that EJNK was invited by Reiko Iwanaga, who was at that time the sensei for Bon Odori for Obon. And in 2000, did I say 2004? Yes, 2004, that's when EJNK made debut at San Jose Obon. And from that day on, it's been heart-lifting to come to the practices before Obon actually would be the event. And like 2 weeks before Obon, to see community coming together and practicing, I said, oh my goodness, look at those little kids. They're totally engaged and they're making a lot of stomping noises. And I said, this is the energy that I felt at the same time that I experienced Chris and Joanne, and that visceral impact of joy and community coming together. But let me give you a little bit of background of how this actually came about. When I decided to make this available to the general public through Obon, I also consulted with Reverend Hiroshi Abiko. Hiroshi Abiko, along with Roy and Dean Miyakusu, back in 1973, were the original founding members of San Jose Taiko at the Buddhist temple. And Hiroshi became a very dear friend. And I would always consult him about certain matters. And I said, Hiroshi, I want to name this piece I'm creating called EJNK. And he said, oh, what is it? And I said, it's EJNK, and I want to know what it means to you. Okay, for those who know Hiroshi, you can understand where these, expressions are coming from. He goes, 3 levels of EJNK. One level is, oh, isn't it good? Like, what a wonderful weather. And I said, so what's the second level? Isn't it good? I go, oh, and what does that mean? He goes, like, oh, it's like not just wonderful weather, it's a beautiful day. Look at how wonderful. What's the third level? Isn't it good? Saying the whole world, look at all these moments here. Isn't it good? I said, that's what I want. I don't want to make it a question mark. Isn't it good? It's like, isn't it good? And that's what Hiroshi added to how I feel the energy of EJNK is. And if you know Hiroshi, and if you knew how he participated in Obon, he would start us out with San Jose Taiko coming out from the sides and being crazy, just jamming. And it was that energy that I felt was also a part of what I felt EJNK was. So a lot of this is also dedicated to Hiroshi's energy. I like to also say that having EJNK being played in all these places that you saw in the collage of the video, it just makes me think about what is missing in our world today and how dance and people coming together and song chanting is uplifting. We are out of the moment, even in fear, desperation. There is joy. And I feel in the dance for the people to come together. I experienced that when EJNK went to Palestine. I was invited to Bethlehem Live Festival in 2014. And at that time, we were working with Palestinian teenagers for 1 week going into their festival. And we were preparing them to play on drums, that we actually took pieces of equipment to build there and also have them played on drums and then learn EJNK and perform it at their festival. And it was that wonderful moment that young people would say, you dance this dance for your past, but we will dance this dance for our present and for our future. And that was a moving moment for me. I mean, even as I say that now, it really makes me put in perspective of what's going on in the world. EJNK. Isn't it good? It is good. It's about the hard work. The movements are about the hard working immigrant lives in the work that they did when they first came to America. And it's wonderful to see that to embody those movements actually becomes, I would say, a song of resilience, a song of also making sure that our history is not erased. That's what this piece actually dedicates. So thank you very much.
Thank you, PJ. Yes, thank you. It just means so much, you know, to have that song. It's such a gift to everybody, and it was really, all my grandkids danced to it. In fact, I had to send sheet music to my grandson so he can learn how to play EJNK on the taiko as well. And so he may be coming to you, Auntie PJ. Can you help me with this part? So, and our students in our rural community really enjoy dancing EJNK. So it's become a big tradition for the kids in our rural community. So thank you very much.
Chris?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm going over time, but I was wondering if I can just only to use this time to also translate and what Yoko's words are in the song.
Please. You have about 10 minutes.
Oh.
9 minutes. Yeah, you have 9 minutes. You have plenty of time.
Okay. These lyrics and the melody was composed by Yoko Fujimoto. Hold on to the dream over the rough waves. Grandpa, Grandma, with sweat dripping from your flesh and bones, you work without sparing yourself. By showing your back to me, you taught me about the Japanese heart. From early morning, you carry wooden boxes of picked strawberries. One box, how much? Your fingers are dyed by the red harvest. The red sunset dyes the outstretched backs of our working comrades. Smoke puffs out, making a roar. The railroad expands from west to east, carrying today's load towards tomorrow. If the taiko is hit, my heart cheers up. Even if you are called a dancing fool, whatever you say, how can I stop? I'll never stop. Let's sing, let's dance together. Thank you.
Thank you, PJ. Yoko's words are always so beautiful. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make, please put it in the chat, and we can address them. We have our Q&A at the end of our webinar, so if you could make sure you put them in the chat, we'd really appreciate that. Okay, thank you so much, BJ. And thank you, Tyler, for doing all the work getting the sound out and the videos out. Okay, so our next presenter is Tiffany Tamaribuchi. And as you all know, Tiffany is all over the place, traveling, playing, presenting. She's internationally recognized as a taiko master, founder and director of 3 active taiko groups. After studying with Grandmaster Seiji Tanaka in San Francisco, she began Sacramento Taiko-Dan in 1989 and eventually formed Sacramento Taiko-Dan Children's Ensemble. She also directs Tozai Wadaiko, a professional touring ensemble comprised of individual artists from groups throughout the world. Expanding the performance opportunities for women taiko players, Tiffany formed and coordinates Jodaiko, an exclusively women's taiko ensemble which performs at events focused on women's issues. In 1993, she was invited to join Za Ondekoza on their North American tour, enabling her to perform as a featured soloist in Carnegie Hall in 1994. In 2002, Tiffany won the Odaiko Hibike Zenkoku Ippon Uchi, All Japan Odaiko competition, and was a finalist in the first Tokyo International Odaiko competition the same year. Today, we are fortunate to learn about Joy Bubble, which is a song that I first heard in 2017 at the Women's Summer Taiko Institute in San Diego. So, Tiffany, if you could tell us all about Joy Bubble.
Yep. It is an honor to be a part of this. I want to thank you for inviting me. It's really hard to follow PJ, but I'm going to give it a try. I had been on tour doing workshopping with different groups, and I was driving out to Moab, Utah to do some workshops there. And I was listening to this is just after the election that I guess the first Trump election. And I was a little bit dispirited being a Democrat and having had an altercation with my brother online because he was making very disparaging remarks about Democrats generally. And just really, we actually had a falling out, did not speak to each other for several years. So it's just really having a hard time and listening to NPR and listening to political commentators talk about how one of the biggest issues that was facing us was that we were all in these our own little bubbles of political thought. And I kept driving, and finally I lost that station being out in the middle of nowhere, and I searched around and I found an oldies station because I used to listen to them with my dad, and Sam Cooke's Change Is Gonna Come came on. And there's a part of me that thought, it's like, well, things feel really hard for me and where I am in this time in this generation, but this is not the first time that things have gotten hard. This is not the first time that we've faced significant challenges. This is this is my time. These are the challenges that I'm facing, that my generation is facing. And it seems that, people have come through. People have done a lot of hard work. And we've gotten to some really good places, and now things are not so great. But maybe, if we just keep holding on, we're going to get through. And so I drove all the way to Moab, and I started doing a workshop, and the community members there, the senior members of the group are a bunch of old hippies. And I was able to connect with them around the fact that, the fight has been a long fight. And this wasn't a new challenge. These weren't new challenges we were facing. And I was talking and making comments as I do in workshops, and I made a comment about the world ending, at least for me, because of the election. And there were a few workshop participants who literally hissed because they were Republicans and they were very supportive and very happy of the election outcome. And I thought, oh, okay, I need to check myself because, here I am, I'm working with these people and I have to do my best to sort of keep an even keel. And despite our political differences, we're here and we're connecting through Taiko. And that's a good thing. So the more I can keep people connected, the better off we're all going to be. So I started teaching some different drills, and the challenge in this particular workshop is I had people who were playing only for about 6 weeks, and people who had been playing anywhere from 3 to 7 years, and then people who had been playing 20 years or more. And in that sort of configuration, it was really important to me that I do things that everybody could benefit from. And I started doing some drills and had people playing some things and got to the point where everybody was coming together on it. And I said, don't worry about this. You're never going to do these drills again. It's not important. Just relax and try and have fun and take your time with it. And then as things got going, they were struggling because I had a very basic, simple, straight meter backbeat. And I thought, well, let's try a swing beat. Let's try an ohayashi backbeat. And I set it up so that some people were playing doko, 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 and we started playing the rhythms. It's like, this is really fun. This could really be a good piece. And so we started playing it, and different people took on different parts. And it just coalesced into a really, really fun song that had challenging parts for everybody who was participating in the workshop. And yet it was, I think, for me, a simple enough song that anybody could do. And to a certain extent, in the spirit of Obon and in the spirit of repetition, I wanted something that was just lighthearted and easy and repeatable in a way that people could lose themselves in it and just forget about what was going on, all the challenges, all the troubles, and to come together. And I thought, well, I want it to be joyful. And if we're all in our own bubbles, if we're all in our own separate bubbles and the world is falling apart, if I'm going to build a bubble, it's going to be a joy bubble. And that's how it got the name. So from that point, I decided also that it would be an open source song because I wanted to be able to share it with, as many people as possible because we were having so much fun playing it. And that takes us to forward to the Women in Taiko conference because Chris mentioned it. And I'd been doing some work. Actually, Wisa Uemura had been doing some really interesting presentations at the North American Taiko conferences about the participation of women in the Taiko world. And this was also at a time where Mrs. Komagata of Hawaii Matsuri Taiko had become ill. And I was recognizing a couple of things. The first is that a lot of my senpai, or people who were ahead of me in Taiko, really wonderful players, performers, a lot of those women had not continued to play. Really, really incredible performers who no longer played. And I was going around and teaching at these Taiko conferences, East Coast Taiko Conference and North American Taiko Conference and Intercollegiate Taiko Conference and European Taiko, all these Taiko conferences. And very frequently, there's an instructor showcase. And equally frequently, there are 95% male instructors and me, and sometimes PJ, and sometimes Michelle Fuji, but it's mostly guys. And coming up in the world of taiko, yes, women have always led groups and women have always done the work to build community. Not that the guys haven't, but a lot of the names that you hear and a lot of the people who then went on to become notable professional performers who got paid to teach and were men. And so I started to dive into that and started to pull together these women in taiko small presentations and gatherings. And it culminated in this Women in Taiko gathering. We had close to 80 people. It was supposed to be just 60 people, but we had close to 80 people, women from all over the world, and some non-binary folks from all over the world, gathering together to talk about the state of women and taiko and start to look at the statistics where like roughly 78% of the people who participate in taiko, not just in North America, but even in Japan and Europe, everywhere else, it's women, but 90% of the professional paid performers are men. And part of this ongoing discussion, we wanted to create some music to bring into the conference proper to talk about what we were talking about and what we were experiencing. We wanted to share some of the work we'd done, and we end up working on trying to compose some things, but because of the time crunch, we also then started to do Joy Bubble. And as we were playing Joy Bubble, PJ, in I guess thinking about how Tankobushi had been so transformative, as she explained earlier, started the dance. And so we were playing Joy Bubble and everybody's, starting to do Tankobushi. And there is this moment of coming together, both with the joy, that joy of Bon dancing in Tankobushi that everybody loves, and this piece. I thought, wow, this has got some juice. It's not EJNK, but it's got some juice. And so from there, Joy Bubble is sort of spread to Europe and Australia, and throughout North America, there are groups that are playing it. And it's really, for me, sort of heartwarming. I don't think of myself necessarily as an activist, but I think in these times, what I'm hoping to do with my work is to focus on the joy that taiko does bring to people, the way that it does bring people together. And hopefully with this piece, and just all the drumming that those of us who are taiko drummers are doing, that will bring people of varying backgrounds and varying philosophies together. And in that way, we can break down some barriers. And in that way, we can know our shared differences, recognize them, but overcome them. And for the people who do feel challenged, and for the people who do feel at a loss of what to do, that I'm hoping that the sound of our drums brings that sense of hope and joy and empowerment. And if Joy Bubble can be a little part of that, then I'm hoping that the work that I'm doing will then help people find that hope and find that strength and find that inspiration to do the things that they can do to make positive changes. Doesn't even have to be big changes, just little steps. Do the things that they can do and have the connection to their heart and have the connection to our history and have the connection to just really, the joy and the hope that you have to nurture. It's so easy with so many things going so badly for so many people to really let it become overwhelming and to just stop and to not feel like you have any sense of capacity to make a change, to do something in the world. And yet it takes a simple rhythm, a simple beat, your heartbeat, just to listen to your own heartbeat, to ground in that strength that you have as a human being, to then look and say, yes, I am here. I can do what I can do, and I'm going to keep moving forward. So there's a short video. I'm currently the artistic director of Portland Taiko, and Chris had said that, well, we could maybe use a video from Women in Taiko and the Taiko conference, but I thought, no, we'll just do a fresh rendition. And I asked the performing members, we got together in rehearsal last night and recorded a quick version of Joy Bubble for you guys to enjoy. And if you want to dance, certainly you can turn off your video and dance, chair dance, whatever, to your heart's content. So Tyler, if you could bring that up. Yeah, give them an audience. That's great. Sorry, I didn't edit this at all. You might want to move ahead a bit. This is. I know a change is coming. I know a change is coming. I know a change is coming. Change is coming soon. Yeah, that's it. I'm very proud of them. The thing I want to share is that we got that in one take, one take. So I'm glad to be able to share this piece with everybody. And yeah, I know that 20 minutes, I'm sure I didn't take that much time, but that is what I have, and that is what I had to say, and that is what I have to share. I hope I'm not leaving out anything important, but.
Thank you, Tiffany. It was, your words are so heartwarming. And yes, we have to move forward. We definitely do. And make sure that we're including everybody. We don't leave anybody behind. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope that those of you with questions, make sure you put them in the chat, and we'll address those at the end of our webinar. And I remember doing this with the Women in Taiko group, the intensive group at the conference in San Diego, and it was really heartwarming to do this collaboration with women from all over the world. And so thank you very much, Tiffany, for providing that opportunity for all of us. And yeah, so if anybody has a chance to watch the video from the 2017 NATC conference, their opening program, I think we're towards the beginning of the opening program, and you could see a little bit more of Joy Bubble. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you so much. And I know you're really busy, and we really appreciate you taking your time to do this. Yeah. Okay. So our next presenter is Nobuko Miyamoto. And we all know Nobuko. When I first heard about Nobuko, she was working with and presenting with Chris Ijima. So she was in a group called Chris and Joanne, and they're the ones who sang "We Are the Children," and that just resonated with all of us. Just like PJ said, that was the song that got us going, that got us moving, that made us feel like somebody was singing about us. And so Nobuko, our Japanese American folk singer, songwriter, author, activist, dancer, singer, and actor, she plays many roles. And as a member of the band Yellow Pearl, along with Chris Ijima and Charlie Chin, they co-created the 1973 folk album, A Grain of Sand, Music for the Struggle by Asians in America, excuse me. And they were actually invited onto the Mike Douglas show by guest hosts Yoko Ono and John Lennon, and they performed "We Are the Children" on the Mike Douglas show. And you could probably catch it on a YouTube link somewhere. The recent documentary, Nobuko Miyamoto, A Song in Movement, was directed by Tad Nakamura, and presents many of these highlights, including showing her as the actor-dancer in The King and I, West Side Story, and Flower Drum Song. And I keep bringing back West Side Story and watching her dancing as one of the seamstresses. It's just so cool. We in the BCA have been fortunate to have had her choreography for such dances as Mottai Nai and the BCA commissioned Kangie. As you know, with her connection to Senshin Buddhist Temple, she founded Great Leap, and which has hosted Fandango Bon, a festival that brings together Japanese, Mexican, and African American music and dance traditions. In 2021, Nobuko released an album titled 120,000 Stories, named after the approximate number of Japanese Americans that she included in her album. Okay, and the people who were incarcerated during World War II. Today, we have the privilege of learning about and becoming involved with these wonderful, heartwarming, heart-wrenching stories. So Nobuko, please, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be part of this group and to present with PJ, my sister, and Tiffany, who I've never met. And I just love hearing the process because we don't often get to share our inner motivations and how we create work. And I think it's not a big mystery. And everybody is creative. That's the premise, really, of Obon. And I love, the fact that the most famous Obon piece that we do around the world was written by women who weren't musicians. They were coal miners. And we didn't know that when we were dancing it as young people, but to learn that and say, oh my God, they were just dancing to get through the day, or singing this song to get through the day. They made up this song to get through their labor, to get through their pain, to get through their loneliness, to get through their dreams that they never had, and so that they would have a voice. And it's so important for individuals to have a voice, but it's important for us as a people to have a voice. And that's what Obon gives us. And that's what Tiffany has done to create this song that people participate with their drums and their body, and PJ with these and Yoko's beautiful voice and the drums to embody who we are, not just from the head up, but through the whole body. That's what Obon gives us, this moment that we are whole as human beings. And then we're also open to connect with other human beings at the same time, simultaneously, which the drum does. It sets the heartbeat and it makes us synchronize with each other. So the more I do Obon, the more I look at Obon, the more I dance Obon and hear everybody, the more interesting it gets to me. And I realize what a deep practice this is, and how connected it is with other cultures, Africans, Latinos. Everybody has a culture of circles, of making music in circles, making dance in circles, telling their stories, their troubles, their trials, and their joys in circles, so they can hear each other, so they can see each other. And we need that now. I feel so blessed and fortunate that Reverend Moss in 1983 asked me to write an Obon song in English. And because being part of Senshin and really being able to hang out with him and him weaving in and out of our day and our rehearsals and just sitting with him, I had such a privilege to learn directly and to be influenced by him. So every single song that I've written, including songs that don't have dances, has been influenced by Reverend Moss by one way or another. So I just want to bring him in the room. In 1999, I don't know if it was Reverend Moss that asked me to write an Obon song for camp. And I couldn't be there in 1999. I had to do something else. And so I wrote this first version of 120,000 stories, but it was 110,000 stories at that time, because that was the number that we knew about. And Atomic Nancy and Nancy Sekizawa sang it. And I just saw this video, it's on YouTube. Reverend Moss was there. George Abe was playing the flute, and Kenny Endo was playing the drum in Manzanar. And they were doing this piece, and people were dancing. I think they were doing tangobushi movements to this piece, 110,000 stories. And so that was sort of the first seed that got planted in me of doing obon in camp. And of course, people normally do tangobushi and things that they're familiar with. But it stayed with me. And the song was never finished, but it stayed with me. And then just before COVID, and I had already had a partnership with a Fandango group, a Quetzal's Fandango group, and we had already written Bambutsu, and it was just before COVID, and we were about to do the Fandango Bon Festival. And I started working on 120,000 stories, and Quetzal says, oh, well, I have people do stories live right in the middle of the song. And I'm going like, what? How long are their stories going to be? And blah, blah, blah. He says, don't worry, it's all going to work out. I'm going like, oh, okay. So we worked on a dance, a simple dance, Elaine, and Fukumoto, and we were working on a dance, and then we did this song, and people volunteered to walk up to the microphone and tell a story about their struggles or something of their experience. And I was like, okay. But we sang the chorus, and then somehow magically somebody would come up and we would keep a beat going, and they would tell a story. And some amazing stories happened from a Native American, from a Latino woman whose husband was in a hospital, and they were touring with a Fandango group, and she couldn't get back to Mexico. Anyway, that story, they were just a few stories, and it was really interesting. So that happened, and then COVID took over and everything shut down, and Tsuru for Solidarity asked us to do something. And Bambutsu, which is the theme song of Fandango Bon, we figured out a way of making this participatory, because that's what Obon is participatory practice. And people dance in different ways. They can dance the same steps, but they do it in their own way. So I did this one teaching video, and everybody, you want to show a little bit? Do we have it to show? I can't remember. No, we don't have it. Anyway, some of you participated in filming yourself doing a portion of Bambutsu, and it was all edited together. So we have people from Alaska to New York to Hawaii, all over the place, doing Bambutsu, and we edited together. So that's another concept of how participation can happen, even with challenges of separation. And that was an interesting experience, to realize that we didn't have to, we could overcome separateness. And also, this Obon and Taiko community within BCA really got busy. You guys got really busy and figured out a way with Zoom, and suddenly people were more connected in a way nationally. The temples had a way of communicating with each other and saying, oh, well, how did we get through Obon this year? How did you get through it? How did you get through it? And there was more of this conversation going on, and that was really interesting. So we're finding more ways to use technology and our traditions, which I think is really interesting. And so at the same time, Ireicho is happening, and people are talking about what went on in camp, and more was coming up about people doing obon in camp. And I thought that was so fascinating. How I was trying to figure out how people did it when Japanese arts were looked at as the art of the enemy. How did people get up the nerve and the gumption to say, no, we're going to do this in camp? So I want to just pull up, maybe look at a couple of minutes of these, of examples of doing obon while people were in camp.
Nobuko, you're muted.
Nobuko, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. So I can't imagine how people figured out how to do a sound system. Did they use live music? And I know that people somehow had some instruments in camp. I don't know how they got them there, maybe after they got there. But somehow they figured out a way to do it. So I want you to imagine right now, if you would be happy to do this, what would it take? Imagine what it would take if we were in camp now. How would we do this? What would we do to make this happen? So, and what did it take? Not only physically to do this, but what kind of guts did it take to do this in a place where they were surrounded by barbed wire, in a place that they were doing the art of the enemy? What did it take for them to stand up? And I used the word resistance. I said, oh, that was an act of resistance. And somebody said, oh no, we just wanted to do it. And I'm going like, wow, that's heavy. So anyway, that lives with me. And the song, the frame of the song, 120,000 Stories, I had the chorus and the lyrics, and I wrote some lyrics that also include two verses that were about the Japanese American experience, and two verses that were from the point of view of Latino Latinos, because they were Tsuru for Solidarity at that time, were at the border, and Japanese Americans were saying, you know, I was in camp, and now you're separating these kids from their parents and putting them in 2 separate camps. What is that all about? And of course, it's hard to imagine the kind of trauma that these children are going through. So I had verses about that also in this piece. Then I just felt like Tiffany, today so many things are being taken away from us, or they're trying to take so many things. They're trying to erase our culture. They're trying to erase our memories. There's a sign on Manzanar that says, people can complain if there's something negative about this history, that people can complain to the government about that. So we're not to allow to say the truth about what happened to us. And where do we say our truth? Where do we say our truth? And this morning I had breakfast with my yoga teacher friend, Krishna, who I've known since I was a kid, and before she was a yogi. And she was in Africa in the early 70s when Africans were in Ghana and Senegal. They were just beginning to get loose from colonialism, and they had a lot of. They were in the middle of the struggles, but there was a lot of hope for a new Africa. And she said, but the one thing that the colonizer didn't touch was their culture. Because Africans, they held on to their culture, even though they were colonized. They were strongly attached to their culture. So I thought about that this morning. And everything that's going on right now with Latinos, with Vietnamese, with all kind of people, Haitians being just picked up off the street, and that this happened to us. This happened to our grandfathers the day after Pearl Harbor. All the things that are going on now have happened to us, and what do we do about it? What do we say about it? So this piece, 120,000 stories, has been ruminating in me, and I really want to see it done at the pilgrimages. And so this week we recorded it. We recorded, it's not all done, but I would like to share where we are right now, because, I want to share the process. And through this time recently, I've met a woman who plays the biwa. She's from Japan, and she was actually played the guitar at first when she came. She was living here. She lives in Pomona, Claremont, and I think she started studying biwa, and somebody came and gave her a biwa that said this biwa was in camp. This biwa, and so she got really interested in what was the experience, like Yoko. What was the experience of Japanese Americans different than my experience? And then she heard the song I wrote, Gaman, and she took that song. She said, can I translate that in Japanese? And she took it, and she did the story with the biwa and her own style. And I went, wow. because the biwa is a storytelling instrument, and the way she uses her voice. So I brought her into this recording, and we only had one rehearsal, and then I'm using the shamisen as we usually do, taiko, and Sean Miura is doing shamisen, Shoji Kamera did the drum, Derek Nakamoto is overseeing everything, and we brought in singers, Atomic Nancy, and woman Kyoko, the first time I met her, and two brothers, and to sing some vocals. It's not totally done, but I wanted to share it with you anyway. Is that okay? Yeah, because I think process is important. And also the fact that the more we know about our culture, the more we know about, it's like the more you know about baseball, the more interested you become in it, you know? The more you know about basketball, the more interested you are in it. And the more we know about Obon and all of its ins and outs in history, the more we're into it. Not just because it's fun to dress up in your yukata but because really we know why we're doing this, and we know what we're part of, and there's more dimensions to it. So that's what my hope is. Just like being with Reverend Moss gave me a sense of many dimensions of Obon, and how we can tell stories and philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, through Obon, through these songs, through these dances, and experience oneness through dancing together. So anyway, let me show you this. It's rough, and you know, it just gives you an idea of what. Oh, I didn't show Shirley's tape. Can we just show a little bit of Shirley's? We did this at Fandango Bone last year, and Shirley's husband videotaped this. So Tyler, can we show a little bit of that? Maybe a couple minutes, just so people get an idea what the dance looks like that Elaine put together. So you can see it's a very simple dance, and that makes it so you don't have to think about it too much as you're dancing, and you can just feel what it feels like to dance and listen to the words. In this case, they had the signing of the Irecho going on inside Janum, and then they had Tsuru for Solidarity was having a gathering in the museum. There were like 3 different things going on. So we had 4 speakers from those groups to come up and tell stories, and in the piece. And it was, of course, I was nervous about it because how long is it going to be? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it all worked out. And but if you're going to do this in camp, I had figured out it would be easier to do it with a recorded track because you can't always depend on the equipment you have, etc. So I wanted to make two tracks, at least two. One with the vocals in there, and then one track with the vocal with its verses empty. There are 8 measures, four verses, 8 measures each, and those would be empty, and people could put their 8 measures of poem or talk or whatever, and then the song would come back in. So anyway, I'm always nervous about people listening to something that's not finished, but anyway, I want to share this with you and get your feedback. Okay, so here we go. $120,000 stories buried in the sand. 120,000 stories. 120,000 stories buried in my skin. 120,000 stories. They called it camp, but it wasn't summer. Wind and sand blew away our lives. I was 2 years old, a yellow barrel, a potential spy. At Santa Anita racetrack, where the rich once watched their horses run, we slept in a horse stall. A soldier watched us with his gun. Oh, Kuroja. Sadao wanted to swim, but they said no Japs allowed. He joined the U.S. Army to make his family proud. While he fought in Italy, his family was sent to Manzanar. He never made it back, but he got the Medal of Honor. Stolen dreams, stolen rights, stolen land, stolen lives. It's an old story, divide and separate. It's an old story happening today. In a cage sits Olivia, plastic blanket, bed of stone. 2,000 miles her mother took her from the violence of her home. A hostage now, 300 children scared and alone, asking, ¿Dónde está mi mamá? ¿Dónde está mi mamá? Oh, Roja. 120,000 stories buried in the sand. 120,000 stories. Is this detention or is it prison? The crime, a better life for his children. 15 years Pedro worked and sacrificed, swept away in an instant by ice. Who decides who's welcome here? Who decides who goes, who stays in this land that once was his home? In a prison he prays. We're here to tell our story. We're here to sing our song. We're here to dance our dance. Story. 120,000 stories buried in my skin. 120,000 stories. Man Manzanar, Holston, Topaz, Tule Lake, Minidoka, Amachi, Jerome, Gore, Gila River, Heart Mountain, Crystal City, Fort Sill, 120,000 stories buried in the sand, 120,000 stories, 120,000 stories buried in my skin, 120,000 stories. So, okay, that's we're in the middle of. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, and if you think it's possible to get people to do this in camp, in pilgrimages, and if they might want to do it for Obon. So, anyway, thank you very much for hearing me out, and it's a pleasure to be part of this. And that it's so important, the work that you're doing to bring us together in this committee is just, it's really amazing work that you're doing. And thank you so much for supporting us in this process. Thank you.
Wow. There were several comments in the chat. Wow. Thank you, Nobuko. That's what you put together is always so powerful and so much touches the heart and brings everybody together. Really, really, really appreciate it. And I don't know if everybody knows, but Nobuko also sits on the committee. And we really appreciate her input and her presence.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. So, oh my goodness. Wynn, would you like to start going through the Q&A questions? Did we want to have Nobuko go through some of the dances? I know we still have quite a bit of time, but maybe we need to do the Q&A and Nobuko can share that video with the dances with everybody else.
Sure. Yes, we'll be sure to circle back to Nobuko's dance movements. Like Chris said, I'd like to thank all of our wonderful presenters tonight. I'd like to thank you, our audience here in the webinar, and to all those who posed questions for PJ, for Tiffany, and Nobuko. So to start us off, there were a few questions in the chat for PJ. I'm going to bundle them all together, PJ, so just answer them as you can. But we had several folks asking, is EJNK open source? Is it like copyleft? How can people get the music to EJNK? And then can you explain the movements to EJNK?
How much time do I have? No. Well, let's see. I had a really difficult time how to say how to make this accessible to the public when it was under San Jose Taiko. And it was at that time, it's like, if you experience a workshop from us teaching EJNK, then you can share it with your group. And as it started to grow, I started to think, this is really open source. I cannot really control the growth. It seems like EJNK has its own mind. It's going to where it has to go, where it wants to go, where it needs to go. And so that's how I justify making it open source. I will say that I do want people not go straight to sheet music. I don't have that available. I don't want people to go straight to the video just to learn it. I really want something still that is visceral, that really connects people. I will say that EJNK is a course under kaDON, and it is offered there as a course. I had been also very careful about how to share the song EJNK written by Yoko. I have over the years been very careful, somewhat protective of how the song gets out there. People expect to see sheet music and they want to just play it. I want her to teach it. There's something about the soul that is connecting to people to understand that there is a deep story. There is something that's coming from the creator. So in all cases as possible, how to really learn this from another and directly. I am having, as this is going forward, of course, it will be shared more and more. It will become accessible more and more online. It is open source, but I really would like that all of our music have that personal connection still that takes us to the purpose of the dance, of the song. Okay, snowballing, the other things. What do the dance movements look like? Okay, I'll just say dig and pick, pick and dig, pick, pick. That is farming and mining. And gather, gather, gather up. Whoops. Gather, gather, gather up. It's gathering the net from fishing and sweating. Go sweat, sweat, sweat. And big wheel, big wheel, big wheel, big wheel. This is for Southern Pacific Railroad in honor of my grandpa, who was an engine wiper. I don't know what an engine wiper did, but he was hunchback. And I figure, menial labor needs to be able to be recognized that they were steering the economy of the nation. That's what big wheel is. And the last is throw the net out to sea. And that's the fishing still. So those are the primary movements to EJNK. Was there anything else, Wynn?
PJ, I think you got it. That was amazing.
Thank you.
And then we put a link to your EJNK course on kaDON in the chat, so people can also consult with that. Just to let all of you know, the presenters, you're getting lots of love in the chat. And since we're on dance,
I want to let you know that also in the works is that we are trying to set up a tutorial with Yoko Fujimoto to teach the song publicly. So stay tuned.
That's great. Okay, we will keep our eye out for that, and maybe we can quickly return to Nobuko since we're talking about dance movements. Nobuko, would you like to introduce, some of your dance movements for 120,000 Stories?
Yeah, I'm not really set up to do that. Okay, I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted.
Just in the chair is fun.
I do know, I think, yeah, you just want me to informally.
Oh, yeah. Or even just a couple of movements.
Okay, what I think I'm going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to create a teaching video for the dance, because that's a good way to spread it, and also that we'll have the music attached so people can see the dance and have the music version, and we just have to figure out how we're going to distribute it. But it will be open source. I mean, this is folk music. This is music for the people. That's the way I see this, and it's hard to control. Anyway, but Elaine had this really brilliant thing of, I don't know, you can't see my feet anyway, but it's left, right, kick, right, left, right, kick. But at the same time, made the sound, huh, 1, 2, 3, huh, 1, 2, 3, huh, which she said was a taiko thing. So that's the first step. And then there's one of brushing away keeping the sand from our face. That's another step. And then one where 100,000 stories, and then brush in my skin. So 100,000 stories buried in the sand, 100,000 stories. So you're kicking the sand here, and then there's the sand movement, and then there's another movement, 100,000 stories buried in my skin. So 100,000 stories. So that's the visceral part of it. The movements are really simple and symbolic. And so those are the three movements, and it's all squares. It's all in 16 measures of music. So everything fits in, and there's no surprises in that way, like extra 2 beats or extra a measure or something like that I sometimes have done in the past. I'm trying to make it square and easy to do, like sort of miraculously, Fandango Bon was very square, and the movements are really clean and clear and different. Each set of movements are different from each other. So I learned that people like that. And also I was thinking people like making a sound with the movement. And so that's why I like the idea of making the sound. And when people do when we come to the shouting of the camps, I want people to shout it out loud. And in other parts, we'll see as this develops over time how people relate to it. And I'm interested to see that how it'll develop through time.
Yeah.
So that's as much as I can give you right now.
Well, thank you for giving us a dance preview. So we'll keep we'll look out for that at other events and maybe at Obon's in the near future.
Do you think people would do it? That's a question I have for people. Do you think people would do it at Obon?
I mean, Southern District loves your dances. So are you worried about the content?
Well, if it seems heavy, okay, we're talking about resilience and joy. I think there is joy in doing this also, actually. People who did it at Janum, they loved it. And we do, even in the hard things, we have to make joy. Just like the women who made Taikobushi. They turn the hard things into a moment of joy. And I think that's, as a culture and artists, we have the ability, even if it's a 5-minute dance, you have the feeling in that moment what life could be like.
Yeah. Well, as you know, Reverend Moss reminds us that Obon is about death, right? And we shouldn't sugarcoat it with hiding death behind chicken teriyaki, right? Obon is about death. So, the camp stories are part of our history and tradition, and it seems like, if we can be talking and dancing about death, then we can be dancing and talking about life. So
Yes, and especially now, as our history is being erased and from, they're trying to erase us. I think it's really important that we find ways to get our children and the next generations to embrace our stories.
yeah. Well, that is a nice segue to a question. We also received some questions in the registration. And this kind of gets to the point for all three of our presenters. Are these pieces suitable for gatherings, demonstrations, or protests?
I would love it if people used it for protests or any kind of gathering. I just came back from the JACL convention. We didn't do this piece, but we did we did Bambutsu, and I've been doing different in all kinds of situations, and also funerals. I saw that PJ, somebody did it at a wedding. I saw somebody had Bambutsu in their phone, and they got up after a funeral at Nishi, and people got on stage and did Bambutsu, and I went, whoa. And it was totally unplanned. So this is kind of the height of what folk music is, It belongs to the people.
Yeah, I would be happy if any or parts or all of the piece of Joy Bubble, could be used for anything, for people to celebrate, for people to march with.
Beautiful.
And Tiffany, how would people go about learning all or parts of Joy Bubble?
I actually filmed, so we're practicing in OBT, Oregon Buddhist Temple, in the basement, and I actually filmed all 5 basic patterns last night, and I'm going to try and put something together so that it's just a YouTube video that people can see, watch, download, whatever.
Great. And so then it is suitable for Tankobushi, the dance?
Apparently, it went really well, and everybody was dancing. I think most Bon dances might fit well, but especially Tankobushi. Thank you, PJ, for making that happen.
And then PJ.
Yes, to the same question.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I have seen and heard that EJNK has been danced, like for Tsuru for Solidarity, which I also gave permission when they were actually outside of incarceration camps for those that were incarcerated, the immigrants from Mexico. and also, well, for funerals too. It's just quite amazing. And there, I just feel like that again, it's the people that are bringing it alive. Yeah, it's not stuck in a box.
Thank you. And so we'd also like to just open up the Q&A to everyone here who is on the webinar. So if you have a question, why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself? Or if you want to.
Hi, I've got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is 100,000 stories or 120,000 stories copyleft or copyright or open source or not?
It's not released yet, so
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
we will. If you noticed in the slideshow I did, there was the scene from Manzanar, and some people had baseball uniforms on because that's the place we're going to do it for the first time in October. I think the 13th of October at Manzanar on the field after they play the doubleheader at the Manzanar Baseball Project. So that will be the first place it's done, and then after that, we'll have some kind of distribution plan for the music and the dance.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the latest one is 120, would be 120,000. Well, does 110,000 have the same restrictions, or is
So
that?
now it's all 120,000 stories.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Nobuko. Do we have any other questions from our webinar participants? I'd also like to invite any folks from the BCA, any of the BCA committees, if you have questions or insights into Obon dance selection at different temples. I know we have at least one dance. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone, for contributing all the information and everything. And Nobuko, we are going to be so thrilled to be able to present 120,000 stories when you're ready to have it out. Because I think when you really think about all the Bon Odori that we dance to, that are written in Japanese from a long time ago. Some of them are over 100 years old, right? And then we dance to these traditional dances that are folk songs. They're about people and how they worked and how they lived. And this is the Japanese American story, right? And so it's suitable for Obon. And I think we just have to make sure that our mindset is moving forward, and seeing this as a folk song that tells our story.
I think that's the thing about a culture will die if it's not renewed. If we don't keep renewing the culture, it will fade eventually. So keeping it, especially telling our own stories right now, just like you said about We're the Children. Who knew that 55 years after we wrote it, that it would still be alive, that song. And it's important that people have their own song. What is a people without a song? People need their own songs and with their own stories. And we never had that. When I was growing up, we never had that. So, yeah, I think it's important.
I'd like to add to your question, Nobuko, is it appropriate for Obon? And I would say yes. And also, especially the pilgrimages at the campsite. What we haven't heard in our dialogue today is the word healing. It is healing to actually take our music, our songs, our creations to a site where energy needs to be healed. And I feel that that's what it's all about too. That's Obon also. And I feel that that's, yeah, definitely. It has its place.
You know, it's interesting, when we went out there last year in October, it was the first time they did the game. They played a double header, and I was there the day before. We were setting up some things, and the baseball players came out from both Northern and Southern California, and two guys who were pitchers walked up to the mound and kicked the dirt and looked around. And they said, now I know why I'm here. It was so emotional for them to be playing baseball at Manzanar, like some of their grandparents had. And I want to know that feeling of what it's going to be to dance in that circle, on the dirt, on the sand, in the wind. I want to know that feeling.
Well, and then one comment, Wynn and Yumihata and I, we've talked about this being American Bon now. And there's that definite transition where it fits. The other thing is that with the times that are going on right now, we definitely see this at pilgrimages and, well, at protests too, frankly. But I do think that calling it American Bon shows a transition to what we need and what we want to do.
I have to commend you because, I mean, we've come a long way. You know, the community has come a long way in these 50 years of the beginning of the movement. And what's going on today is sort of electrifying that history for us, for those who are opening their eyes to it. And that's to connect people in a visceral way by doing Obon in camp, and just the way that these pilgrimages have grown in such an incredible way, and the content and the healing and all of these things that are happening around the camp experience. It's so relevant right now to everything that's going on around us, around the world. And PJ, the fact that you went to Palestine and did this is just, you know, oh my God, so important.
On a much lighter note, Chidori Band Duane of Chidori Band, you know, made an arrangement of Tanko Bushi that is Tanko Boogie. And I hesitated in the beginning many years back, but again, this is American Bon, so we're dancing Tanko Bushi that evolves into Tanko Boogie.
Oh,
That's interesting.
hi. I got another question. Will this be available for rewatching?
Yes, Kevin, it's being recorded, so you can watch it again.
Thanks. Oh, I've got another question. Have y'all ever played Tankobushi with like live drums, like during the
Somebody.
You know who has a nice recording of it is Isaku Kageyama. He, I think it's on kaDON. I'm not sure.
No, I think it's a YouTube.
Is it a YouTube? If you look up Isaku Kageyama, I'll put it in the chat. He has a, I think he shows how to play the taiko to Tankobushi.
I'd like to comment on Reiko's comment about Chidori Band playing Tanko Boogie. And we all start, dancing. Actually, this at the recent Obon 2 weeks ago, starting the regular Tanko-bushi, and then right after it segues right into Tanko Boogie. What's so amazing is to watch the dancers. There's a transformation. It's like from Tanko-bushi, like they're having fun, but then the boogie starts and then the rest of the body starts to move as well. So I think that's evolution. We're adapting to going forward.
Hi PJ, it's Knock. I have a question for you. I was in your EJNK workshop when you came to Seattle for NATCR last year. Yeah, hi. So we are planning to incorporate EJNK into one of the obons here in the Pacific Northwest, the Vashon obon, in a couple of weeks, and we're really excited to be able to do that. And I was wondering how you feel about incorporating other instrumentation like fue or shamisen that also play like the melody or some other part of the song.
I think that's a part of interpretation, expression that needs to come out. So, I mean, I am in full support. Gosh, yeah, you have my support.
Oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful. We're definitely going to record it, and we will send you a copy of it as well.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, PJ.
Any
Tiffany,
other questions?
I just wanted to say something to Tiffany. Tiffany, thank you so much for your process and your thinking. I really appreciated that. And also, I was thinking as this was unfolding, is that it's interesting that there are 3 women presenting and there's no males. So, I thought that was interesting anyway.
Thank you, Nobuko. It's truly an honor to be presenting with you and PJ today.
It's my honor.
Honor here too.
Oh, Christine?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for this lecture and everything. And I didn't know there was like a different version of Tankobushi either.
Well, that's one of those impromptu things that come up when we were dancing to "We Are the Children," and then it continued on with Joy Bubble. So it's, and then San Jose, does Tanko Boogie, kind of along the same line, right? PJ, basically, yeah. And so it's all, if you go to Bon Odori in Japan, you can see people doing during Tankobushi, they were doing some like other kind of dancing along with it. So they were partnering up and spinning and doing some American contemporary dancing to Tankobushi. And this was in the, I want to say, early 60s when I was living there as a kid. And so this is not unusual, actually, in the least. But as Japanese Americans, you just get kind of like, is it okay to do this? And then we just did it anyway.
Yeah. I think that's the ownership part of it. And over the years, at first, like when I first wrote the first song, I was so careful, and the diphthongs, and how English is so different, and you're trying to find words that have without diphthongs to fit into the poetry and the lyrics and all that. I was so careful about that and making it sound. And then after 3 or 4 songs, it was like, oh hell, let's have fun. And still, but then the last 2 songs though, then I went back and in a different way, like using the show and the Tsutsumi and Kenny Endo's voice in Kangie. I felt like, wait a minute, young people need to hear these amazing sounds. They need to know that that's your music, honey. That's where you came from. And same thing with the biwa. I want them to know what this biwa is, and here after this, see how she takes a story and tells a story with this instrument. So there's it's a way in and there's a way out. I mean, we can play with this. In other words, we can play with it.
I'm going to add Sydney Shiroyama is on, I'm sure, and then she's part of Bombu Stories, and they have contributed a new song, Lantern Song, and it was really interesting that they wanted to ask Nobuko and Reverend Moss and myself, to give feedback to what should they include in their song. What should they be careful about? Exactly what we would ask ourselves. Should we be doing this? And to come out with their song, I think a lot of people going, gosh, that doesn't sound like a Obon song. It was so lyrical, so beautiful, and that's another expression, I think, of another generation, but it's contributing to Obon. It's respecting the lantern, everything that is a part of Obon.
I cannot thank all of you enough. This has just been tremendous. And it's your words and your actions and all the things you've created have meant so much to everybody. And it's, again, moving forward with our culture, with American Bon and Japanese, not Japanese American, but just Asian American folk art. It's really a wonderful way to celebrate ourselves and to be able to keep those memories alive. So thank you very much. I want to thank the staff of all the people who put everything together. Sydney for doing all the spotlighting, Yoza for helping out with all the tech work, and Tyler Moriguchi had to leave. He was doing all the wonderful AV stuff for us. Judy Kono for putting everything together so we could have this Zoom site, and Kemi Nakabayashi, of course, she's our fearless leader. Reiko Iwanaga, who has been my partner all along and supported everything. And to be really honest, I want to take credit for this beautiful idea, but this was all Wynn's idea. So Wynn Kiyama had this great idea to do this, and he said we should do this, and Reiko said yes, let's run with it, and so here we are, and so thank you very, very much. And Sydney, do you want to say a little bit about Lantern Song, since it got mentioned and now everybody's really curious about it?
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to speak last, but thank you so much for this presentation, and thank you, PJ, for the shout out. Yes, as Bomo Stories, as we were developing Lantern Song, we definitely looked to our to those who inspire us, and so definitely we looped in PJ and Nobuko and Reverend Moss, and I think that hopefully that's a reminder that, like, we're watching. I don't know, like the younger generations are watching and also like in awe, we're watching in awe and really looking toward our leaders and inspiring leaders inspire leaders. And so hopefully that like continuing to do things like this and writing these amazing songs really does make an impact. So yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Kemi, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, please. So, on behalf of our entire BCA Music Committee and Vice Chair Donna Sasaki, also in the Zoom with me, I'm the chair of the BCA Music Committee. Thank you so much, all of you. The Bon Odori Taiko subcommittee, I keep saying at all our national BCA meetings that you're the rock star subcommittee. And mostly it's because you come up with these ideas and you implement them and you present them. And I'm truly grateful. We have like 12 subcommittees, but when I think about you all in the Bon Odori Taiko, we have these high power people, on the committee, Wynn, Reiko, and Nobuko in particular, but we also have the support of Reverend Ron, our BCA Minister Emeritus, and then we have Sydney. So the whole spectrum of representatives. And so I'm really proud of this subcommittee. So thank you all. I think Chris mentioned the people on the subcommittee who participated with the Zoom production. And we thank Judy Kono and the Center for Buddhist Education for the Zoom support. We also had on the meeting Elaine Fukumoto and Johnny Mori, who participate on the subcommittee in our meetings and by email, and then others on the BCA other subcommittees that I saw in the Zoom. So thank you all, everybody. I hope those of you are enlightened a little bit more about what the BCA Music Committee has been doing. I had dropped our link in the chat earlier for our web page of the BCA Music website, and also our music committee projects are supported by donations. And in addition to our BCA Music leadership and our Bon Odori Taiko co-chairs who have supported our BCA Music Endowment Foundation with donations, we invite you to also consider donating. And I had put the Kindful link, BCA Kindful, in the chat earlier. Music has its own campaign at the bottom of the drop-down link. And so you can choose directly for the donations to come to our committee for specific projects. And one project I'd like to sort of announce, we have some additional information forthcoming, but Nobuko, her music director, Derek Makamoto, is working on a short film project. They had video recording from the studio of Kangie, and we're using that along with some new video and commentary to make a short film about how the Kangie, Bon Odori Song and Dance Commission, came about. And so that will be one of our sponsorship projects, and early donors have the opportunity, if they wish, to be listed in the film credits. And so before all that is publicly announced, if you want to just contact me and to learn more about that, that's possible as well. So I want to thank you again. And I don't know, are there any last minute questions? Otherwise, I will ask for closing gasho. So I think it's fitting to have one of our ministers in training from our BCA Music Bon Odori Taiko Committee lead us in closing gasho. She's well on her way to her next steps. Sydney, would you please lead us in closing gasho?
Okay, sure. Wait, will you please join me in gasho? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sydney. thank you everybody for attending. We really appreciate your presence and your participation, and hope that you have a good evening. Maybe you can be dancing in your sleep. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.